Okay, so here are the materials that you're going to need for the build. You're going to need a little bit of duct tape, obviously not 2 rolls, just like a very, very small amount, just like probably a foot. A sheet, a sandpaper or something. I mean, I have a crap load of sheets, but yeah, just sandpaper. Some sort of a razor or a knife, something to get the stickers off of the puzzle. And you might want this just to protect your eyes, just in case some of the plastic stuff comes off in the puzzle and hits you in the face or something. You make sure they don't go in your eye. Now you might need super glue. This depends on whether you're using a speed cube or not. If you're using a speed cube, you're most likely going to need super glue. And here we are, this hacksaw, so to cut the cube. And well, obviously you're going to need a cube. So here is a YJ Guan Long, fairly cheap cube that I'm going to be mining today. And it costs like $4, so it's not that expensive at all. I bought it on Amazon, got it 2 days shipped, pretty quick. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And let's get started. So unfortunately, I did not record myself putting duct tape around the cube, which is a very important part to make sure that it does not turn while you cut the cube. So here you can see me marking up the cube of where I'm going to cut it. So here you can see exactly where I marked to cut. So it is always better to cut outside of the lines, just to make sure that you have. So if you cut too close, well, obviously it can't fix it. You can't just fix it with epoxy. So you're gonna have to just restart basically if you cut too close. So here we go. You can see me start cutting. So you just want to. I unfortunately have to do this with a hacksaw, which would be much easier with a bandsaw, but I don't have one, so I just have to use a hacksaw. And you just cut outside of the line. Try to make sure that you don't cut into any other pieces, such as the center or edge of another. You just want to cut the corner side, just the corner, not any other the middle pieces. So I had finished cutting one side and realized I accidentally cut a little bit into too far, like I was talking about. I cut a little too far into the centerpiece of the other side, and that wasn't so good, but it was okay. It didn't matter too much. It's only a very, very small detail if you can barely notice it now in the finished product. So here I have cut all the edges apart, and it looks pretty good for the most part. So from now, what you're going to want to do is take the rest of the duct tape off and take apart the puzzle. So after you take all the duct tape off, it's worth checking to see how it turns and make sure everything can turn correctly. So you hopefully will be able to turn it every single way. If not, if there's something wrong, because you may have cut too deep, and you probably will have to restart if it can't turn correctly. So as you can see, I have 2 different piles. One on the far side and at the top of the screen is just normal corner pieces in which they were not cut. To the right are some edge pieces and corner pieces that I have been cut, and then there's also another pile of some that need to be put back together. And at this point, I figured out where they've all gone and where they belong. So I put them back together. And if you have any questions about this, because I know it's kind of complicated, I'm not that good at explaining it, but just comment in the description if you want to know anything. So right now I am super gluing the pieces, I'm basically just making sure each piece has glue inside of it to make sure that they don't fall apart. Because they've already like fallen apart, just basically, and they won't stay together just by me pushing them together how they normally would be. So you need to get some super glue and put them. Be very careful with super glue. Obviously, if you get it on you, it's gonna stay on you for a long time, and you have to rip it off, and eventually your skin's gonna have to come off with it too. So definitely be careful with that. So the next step is to use milliput or any kind of epoxy to fill in the holes of what we have just cut to make the pieces basically seamless, so that it actually looks like a cube instead of just like somewhere of hollow, and I don't know, so it just performs better as well. So here you can see me get the milliput out. So basically, if you're using milliput, you just want an equal amount of each material, and then you just want to start mixing it up until it turns one solid color, and then you are able to use it and start to fill in the holes. Okay, so at this point I applied all the milliput, and I even had a leftover amount to create a 1x1 cube. I'm basically just going to be taking the stickers off of this and placing them on this after it dries and hardens. So these are all finished. These are the edge pieces, and these are the corner pieces, and these are the edge pieces. So just gotta wait a while for them to harden, probably like 2-3 hours, maybe 4. This one's a big one, but yeah. I used basically all the milliput. I have a little bit left over still in the box, but that's basically, I used all the milliput. So now I'm going to get into sanding each one of the pieces individually. So you're gonna need to have all of your pieces done with the milliput and have it be hardened, and or otherwise called cured. That's what it's also called. So now you just want to get some sandpaper and start rubbing the pieces against it so that they become smooth. And some that may have been bigger, like you added more extra milliput on the top by accident, maybe you want to keep sanding that off to make sure that all the pieces are even. You also want to make sure that each piece is turnable by checking that there's no extra like milliput on the insides of the pieces or something weird like that, so that you want to make sure it works. So after a very long amount of time sanding, I have put the puzzle back together, and as you can see, everything turns correctly. I even left the stickers on that I still had, and you can see the puzzle turns correctly and everything seems good. So I ended up using a lot of sandpaper because the plastic just seems to get everywhere. So all of the sandpaper just kind of seems to stick on it. So that's why wet sanding is probably a pretty good idea. If you know how to do that, it probably saves you a lot of sandpaper. So now what I am doing is taking all these stickers off and preparing it to get spray painted. So I did not mention this accidentally. You're going to need spray paint. You don't necessarily need it if you don't want to spray paint it, if you're fine with the color that it is maybe. But I believe spray painting it makes it look a lot better and more professional. So spray painting is definitely a very good thing, and I would definitely recommend it. So now, as you can see, I've completely unstickered the puzzle, and I do not record myself spray painting the puzzle. I'm sorry, I just did not do that. I kind of forgot to, and basically just want to put a couple coats of spray paint on it. Don't worry, it won't stop it from turning. If you're wondering, I would definitely recommend doing it on some outside or something, because that makes it much easier if you can do it outside. Unfortunately, I didn't do it outside because it was snowing, so I had to do it inside, but I still ended up doing it. I put on some paper so I didn't spray paint the floor. Didn't want to paint the floors. So yeah, just be careful when you're spray painting it. And this is the final product. So I was very happy with how it turned out. Yeah, that'll be it for this video. So like, subscribe, comment for more, and as always, have a nice day.